from Giardini Naxos in Sicily. On this episode of You, Me, and Sicily, we're going to follow along Josephine, Alfred's first cousin, as she and her husband Jim visit her ancestral home Tusa in the province of Messina for the very first time.
And then afterwards we're going to travel back to the province of Catania and to the slopes of Vajda to see our second ancestral home, Tre Castagni, as well.
Incredibly moving story of one woman whose grandmother and grandfather left Sicily, and for the first time she's reconnecting with her roots.
But it's not only our story, it's a story of millions of Sicilian immigrants whose children, grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren are in the States today watching this.
Okay, first stop, Tusa in the province of Messina.
Ciao!
They left their homes, culture, family, and what they were familiar with, and became strangers in a strange land. Sicily, magnificent in so many ways, but its beauty and bounty were sometimes not enough. So many made the extraordinarily difficult and brave decision to seek a better life for themselves and their family. Beginning around 1880, there was substantial immigration from Sicily. Between 1900 and 1915, 3 million Italians, mostly from the south, emigrated to the United States. This was the largest nationality of new immigrants. The reasons vary, but most left for economic reasons, others after the 1908 earthquake in Messina, and some even left for political reasons.
Charming. Yes. San Giovanni, that was my grandfather's name, Giovanni.
Like hundreds of thousands of other Sicilians, Joe Teresi Leonard's family on both mom and dad's side left Sicily and settled in Lawrence, Massachusetts. They married, had children, worked hard, and started a new life. For many descendants of immigrants, there is now a pull to return to their ancestral home in Sicily. Although Joe and her husband Jim had visited Sicily decades ago, on this trip, Joe wanted to see where her grandmother on her mother's side came from. Josefina di Maria, Joe's grandmother, left from Tusa, located in the province of Messina, with some of her siblings at the beginning of the 20th century. On the ride up, we stopped several times just to admire the majestic scenery.
Like nothing I've ever imagined. It's beautiful greens and beautiful olive trees, and birds are singing, and the area is just lush and gorgeous, and I'm dying to get there to get the feel of what it was like.
The area was first settled by the Greeks and Sicels in the 5th century in an area called Alatia. At the beginning of the First Punic War, it was the first Sicilian town to side with Rome, and so it received great prominence under the Roman Empire. During the Byzantine period, it declined and was abandoned after the Arab invasion. Its people populated modern-day Tusa.
How exciting. I love it.
Entering Tusa is like stepping back into antiquity. Each cobblestone street has a uniquely medieval character. There are plenty of churches and monuments, some dating back to the 14th century.
Stai tornando, Tony! Tony, sto tornando!
The panoramic views are magical. In the midst is the 16th century structure, a recreation of Mount Calvary. For Joe and Alfred, this is like coming home, a tangible connection to their roots.
Alfred,
Cousin.
our roots right here.
Roots right here. I found out, I was
1500.
talking to some townspeople, I found out about the Di Maria name though.
Okay, if it is in fact that, but we can go with it.
But we can go with our version of the truth,
Okay.
right? But
Yeah,
anyways,
let's
I guess
go.
the Di Maria was a baroness.
Ooh,
And old name.
okay.
As a matter of fact, walking down here, we saw some buildings 15th century, 14th century. That's, that's very old.
Another after another after another.
Let me see that.
Go ahead, Laura.
On the way out of town, we stopped at a small restaurant. The owner came out to greet us,
Piacere Vincenzo. Jim, for America.
and soon we were having a discussion about family connections.
Ah, Torrisi.
Torrisi e Zappala.
Sarà parente di mio cognato.
Ah,
E mio cognato Torrisi.
Today, there are about 3,500 people in Tusa, just a fraction of what it was in its heyday. Most of its population is elderly, and jobs are scarce. Jo says she understands why her family left Tusa. What would you tell your mom if she was sitting across from you?
I would say, why did your family ever leave this peaceful, gorgeous place? Although I would know why they did. They wanted a better life, they wanted a little more security, they wanted to move away from a small little town.
We later visited Tre Castagni at the foothills of Mount Etna in the province of Catania. Jo's grandfather, Gaetano Turrisi, who's also Alfred's grandfather, lived there before leaving for the States in 1906 as a teenager. His wife, Concetta Gangi Turrisi, came several years later. This is the house their grandmother lived in. As Jo walked the streets her grandparents walked on, she said she felt a deep connection to her ancestors. Every year, thousands of people make the same journey back to Sicily to explore their ancestral homes and reconnect with their roots. You know, this story for me personally was so moving because when I was a young child, my parents made the very difficult and brave decision to leave Hungary, my ancestral home, seeking a better future.
The streets of America were paved with gold. That's what people believe, and they came for a lot of different reasons. Hunger, war, devastation, disease, you name it. That's why they came. Earthquakes, you name it. If there was a reason, they came to America. America. Remember they said that? America. End of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, millions of Sicilians emigrated to the United States of America, and lots of us today have a yearning to go back.
To return. And if you've enjoyed this episode of You, Me, and Sicily, check us out at www.evazmediagroup.com. All the episodes are up there, and also we're on Facebook, You, Me, and Sicily. Thanks so much for watching.
Ciao.